year and 6 months. Glen Stokes, sitting to my left, bought a container property here near Playa Negra, Costa Rica in 2021. The crazy thing is he did this without having ever visited Costa Rica prior to purchasing the property. He's been on my channel before. Glen, thanks very much for joining me again.
Awesome, Matt. So great to be here, man.
Today on our live Sunday chat, and this is news to Glen, he's finding out the agenda as we go here. We'll talk a little bit about the process he went through in buying. We'll go over quickly sort of the project that he has done here. We're going to show the greatest piece of Costa Rica update content that Glen created, showing what he is doing here on the project. And if anyone out there wants to ask Glen questions about what it's like to move to Costa Rica, take this huge plunge, and do so with a container property, you can post your questions on the live chat. We will try to answer as many as we can while also respecting Glen's time here on a beautiful rainy Sunday. Folks, it's October 9th. I'm joined by one of the greatest South Africans ever to move to Costa Rica. Thanks very much for joining me, Glen.
Cheers,
stay tuned. Greetings from Costa Rica. My name is Matt Rosensteel, also known as Costa Rica Matt. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about everything related to moving to Costa Rica. Greetings from Costa Rica. Welcome to my new exclusive listing here in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Here in Costa Rica, in Playa Junquial, Playa Tamarindo, Costa Rica, real estate, a pura vida lifestyle. What the heck? Just kidding. So whether you're interested in buying real estate in Costa Rica or you just want to learn more about this beautiful country, do be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks. Anyhow, Glen, let's start off by giving you a moment to share as much as you want to about your story and how you ended up in Costa Rica as a reminder for people who have not seen him on my channel.
Cool. I was sitting stuck in London during the pandemic lockdown. I don't know what it is now. 2 years ago, I'd been stuck in South Africa, locked down for 9 months. Then I went to London to be with my kids and got locked down there. So I'd been sitting in London. I'd been in IT 30 years. I'd had enough of that. And basically was saying, I'm going to change my life up. And I'm a surfer, and I was looking at Indonesia as places to go. And then I was looking at Costa Rica, because anyone who knows anything about surfing is like, that's a great place to look. And I was nosing up and down the coast, and I literally saw this picture of an abandoned container here, this kind of jungle background, a rusty container, elevated up, and it was instant. It was like, that's where I'm going. Who's this guy? And I pinged Matt an email, and Matt he's always the professor. Well, Glen, you need to do a visit. You need to come and do it. I just said, nope, that is what I'm doing. That is what I'm doing. And I think I put in, Matt took a video that's on my YouTube channel as well, of the container as was, just a bare rusty container. And he said, that's what you're buying. I said, cool. And we did the deal in a couple of months, almost straight away. Went through the escrow process, absolutely no hassles. And then I got on a plane. I actually got on a plane 3 times during COVID. They kept turning me back at the airport saying, no, you're not allowed to travel. You're not allowed to travel. You're not allowed to travel. 3rd time I got here 2021, April, Easter.
Yep.
I landed on the 31st of March in San Jose with 2 surfboards and a suitcase of nothing really, a backpack and 2 surfboards. Walked across the road to the Walmart, bought a bicycle, bought for $130, bought some cleaning stuff, grabbed a taxi, and I arrived at the container on the 1st of April with nothing. A backpack, 2 bicycles. Matt left the key under the door. And that was it. I turned on the water. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Away we went.
And away he went. What's your YouTube channel so people can find some
I don't know.
updates? Oh, you don't even know the
I'm no social. That's Glen Stokes on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things and one of the reasons I decided to have you on today, you had just spent another 2.5 months in London.
Yep.
And you came back and you just sent this quick message saying, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't be happier to be here."
Yeah.
And honestly, when you look around, these are somewhat humble surroundings.
Yeah.
We're sitting here at the container. Glen is somebody who has simplified.
Yeah.
It was the right fit for you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of expats dream of doing something dissimilar to what he's done, but this isn't necessarily for everybody.
Yeah.
One of the things, before we get too much further, Glen has posted a couple updates on sort of remodeling the container and doing improvements, because from day one, we just had the container here, and from day one, he started out adding this roof that's above us now, building around it. So you've got a concrete pour here, this patio, all kinds of stuff. And he posted what I consider to be perhaps the single best Instagram reel with an update from Costa Rica to one of the absolute greatest songs of all time. As Glen was saying, it's his life. Enjoy this video that Glen put together while he was getting some progress done on his container.
So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 roof beams.
Glen's update. He's actually made a lot more progress since then.
Yeah,
we're sitting under the roof that he built. So tell us sort of about your first 18 months now.
Okay.
Here living in Costa Rica. I'm going to make sure we don't have stuff adding beeps here in the background and everything. What have you been up to over the last 1.5 years? How has it been just plunging into Costa Rica?
Oh, okay, I don't know. There's so much to tell you. It's been it's the best thing I ever did with my life. I have to tell you that. Just realizing this is my life. This is what I want to do. So I jumped in. Actually, sitting in London, I sat with PowerPoint, and I started drawing pictures of what I imagined this place to be, and it's exactly how it's unfolding, quite honestly. But I'm doing it physically all myself. So I started literally on day one. Walked in the door. It was 40 degrees, dry as a bone here. No air conditioning, nothing. Opened the door, walked in, turned on the tap, and the water just went everywhere. In fact, I first turned on the tap, there was no water. There was no water. And I thought, 40 degrees, Sunday, Easter weekend, there's no one here. And I had this much water left in my water bottle, where I don't know where we even are. I mean, I literally didn't know where I was. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And Ray, the guy who built this whole Pura Jungla, this was bare grassland 30 years ago. He planted 1 million trees and built a jungle in Costa Rica. And I bought a piece of land here. And he arrived, just drove up and said, yes, I think I might be able to help you with that. And so he gave me a spanner and some pipe, and I fixed the connection and moved in. And I slept for the first 3 months on the floor. Well, I think I had a blow up mattress. That's right. And I left everything open. I had no air conditioning. So the animals used to walk in and out the container. I had these little foxes and bats at night and a couple of snakes, but mostly just bats and foxes.
Yep.
And I started built the and I put my last pennies in here, literally. I'd got divorced, I'd given literally everything away. With my last money, I bought this container, cash, and that was it. I had a couple of thousand for, and the one thing where we live, it's quite interesting. We're in the jungle. There's a tar road, 1.5 kilometers away, and there's a hardware store, which was a God blessing for me. It was just the best thing ever. Yeah. So I went down, bought some tools, and I started. Built some furniture, wired up, got the electricity going. It was all just hanging from the roof, fixed all that. And I'm not a builder. I'm an IT guy.
Yep.
And then I started. This behind us was, you can see, was this concrete. Now that was just dirt and jungle.
Yep.
So I started digging that out. 250 wheelbarrows of concrete that I mixed hand by hand, poured it wheelbarrow by wheelbarrow by wheelbarrow, and then dug these poles in the ground, and then started on the roof, taught myself to weld, and now I've got 150 square meters of roof, and we just had the worst rains ever. I was hoping to get the roof done before October when the rains are due, and the rains came in April or March or something stupid.
This very strong,
super rain, but I got in between. I climbed up there and welded the thing together and got it done. And then, I was down to my last pennies 4 months ago. And somebody had been following me actually on YouTube, and I'd said, you know what, I think I got to maybe I need some income.
Yep.
So I updated my LinkedIn profile. I've been in the IT industry for nearly 40 years. And a guy who used to work with at UBS got hold of me from London and said, Glenn, I think I've got something for you. You're going to love this. Come over to London. I've got a job for you. And I think you can work from Costa Rica.
Yep. Okay, yeah.
So
that's the dream.
3 months ago, I jumped on a plane again. I was down to my last pennies. I had enough for the air ticket and keep myself alive in London for a month. My kids are there, so I went back, stayed with them, and started this job. And it's the best job I've ever had in my life. I love the work I'm doing.
Yeah.
But they said, fine, go to Costa Rica if that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I've just had, while I was away, I had fiber installed. So I've got 50 meg fiber wired through the trees, hanging in my container.
Yeah.
And now I'm working. I got back 2 weeks ago. My container was exactly as I left it. The wonderful thing is I can slide the door closed. It's got a shipping quality lock on it. And I came back and my T-shirt was still hanging on the washing line. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And now I'm working and it's crazy. But I'm earning London money, living in Costa Rica. I've met a local girl, Diana, who is just completely. So I don't have a car. I ride a bicycle everywhere I go. I buy at the local shop. I eat local. I build it all myself. My girlfriend is Costa Rican.
Yeah,
it's just my life. I love it.
Well, and that's so we had already the question from Leo, and thank you very much for posting your questions and shout outs. As always, it's great to see you. Steve, I appreciate you joining for probably more consecutive broadcasts than any other human being on the planet. But Leo had sort of asked, he wants to hear about the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think it's important that you start out with the good there because, again, this is not for everybody. Glenn made a huge bet moving here and investing what was the rest of his savings in a container home here. It was going to require a ton of work. And you were able to accomplish this for a few key reasons. A, you've lived all over the world and you're adaptable.
Yeah. I've lived. So I'm originally South African, and that can pretty much prepare you for anything.
Yeah.
Then London for 15 years, then France, then Germany. I lived in Australia for 3 years, and I'd kind of seen it all, and I wasn't chasing that modern world anymore, but I knew what it took. I knew what Africa was like. Unpredictable. Things work, then they don't work. People say they'll do something and they don't.
Yep.
Power comes and goes. Water comes and goes. You go shopping for something and they may or may not have it. You got to be flexible. You got to adapt. You got to work with the local people and just enjoy people for who they are.
Well, and that's a second key element of why you found success and you're happy here. And Diana, I tried to ask her if she might be in a shot here. She kind of just said no because we didn't ask her to be on the program. But you're the kind of personality, and no, está totalmente bien, no se preocupe. You're the kind of personality that you connect with people and build relationships.
Yeah.
And I see a lot. I'm somebody who would never go out and make a new friendship. It's tough for me to do that. And it's been key for you, and I think key for a lot of expats. If you have that personality where you can go out and build meaningful relationships, you can find fulfillment. You can do that.
I do think I see a lot of people who come. We see a lot of Americans. We see a fair number from Europe. But if you try and bring that country here, basically you're going to build yourself a little silo, and you need a whole bunch more money to do it. If you want to, you do, because you're not working with what's here. You're not absorbing the pura vida and saying, okay, this is part of who I am as a life. So La Flaca runs the restaurant in town. I mean, she's just been, there's just the guys at the local hardware store learning. I had no Spanish.
Yep.
And I'd bumble along, but with a smile, with respect, get to know them, ask them about their lives. And now I walk in there and they will do a delivery for me in 5 minutes.
Yep.
That's what I need.
They know who you are. Yeah, you've integrated. And that, I mean, I feel like, sometimes I'd rather talk to the person at the supermarket a lot more than some of the people that are interested in real estate, because people are so warm and open here.
They're stunning. The culture and the people is brilliant. I mean, the little supermarket where I go every day, I cycle in on a bicycle, buy 5 bananas and a tin of beans, and they just, where have you been? What's happening? What's going on with your life? Good to see you again. Pura vida, bro, from guys in the street. It's that's the gold in Costa Rica. Is the people are it makes me want to cry. They are incredible.
Yep, absolutely. We had a question from Steve. What's your favorite surf break in the area? Speaking of the good, and I assume one of the biggest reasons you're loving life here.
Yeah.
Where are you surfing?
So we are 5 kilometers from Playa Negra. So I'm 3 kilometers from Callejones and 10 kilometers from Avellanas. And actually, my favorite break is Avellanas because of the crew on the beach. So I typically cycle there 10 kilometers. I welded up some racks for the board. And the day I arrived there, you show that?
Yeah, we can actually show Glen's bike over
that
here.
That bike is still $130 and still going. But so I go to Avellanas. Avellanas it's a long break. So a lot of people coming down to surf. It gets crowded in the water. You go surf at Playa at Negra, you better behave yourself because you hit the typical surf localism strongest at Negra. It's a peaky break. You got to know what you're doing. I've been surfing all my life, but there's guys who just paddle out, jump on the first wave that they think they own, and man, that's just you're gonna get aggro pretty quick like that. You go to Avellanas. Further up is Tamarindo, which is kind of the tourist world of surf, which is super cool. There's no aggro in the water because there's so many people there. Avellanas is in between. It's got a stunning left-hand reefy point break. Somebody died there, so you better know what you're doing there. Avellanas is a long beach break with lots of room, lots of peaks all the way along it, and a thing down the end called Little Hawaii, which is a right-hand screamer that I absolutely love as well. So there's surf coming out of your ears. Love it.
And I've heard, I have not been on a stand-up surfboard more than once in my life. I boogie board here and there, but pretty much everyone I talk to in this area, Avellanas is a gem.
It's just an absolute gem. And the people on the beach, so you've got 2 restaurants there, Lola's and La Perua. And I arrived there, and literally I've had the guys say to me, Maurizio runs the surf group there. You're part of the tribe, Glenn.
Yeah.
They will look after you. You get stuck, they'll help you. And you can just hang. You sit there, you have a beer, you lie in the hammock, you talk to the guys. Lots of interesting, gorgeous people to meet. If you're looking for that. And the beach is paradise. And sunset, atardecer in Costa Rica it faces west. Everybody just sits on the beach, opens a beer or a gin and tonic or a margarita or pina colada, and you sit there and you just take photographs of sunset. Every single one. Diana said it to me yesterday. And she's lived there all her life.
Yeah.
Every sunset is special here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that was a good question. Somebody else brought up, Tom asks, aren't Gringos and Ticas a bad combination?
Why don't you ask Diana? I think we're pretty damn good. We've been very good for a year. I have no idea, to be honest.
I think you found a special Tica.
I found a special Tica. I certainly did. I think there is I don't know how honest I can be on here. There is this rich gringo coming in, like sugar daddy mindset that you can run into. And I've seen the same in Indonesia, where all
Everywhere.
over the world. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
You come in flashing cameras, money, cars, and a lifestyle. No, and that's
a key difference. Yeah, I can say, Diana is a special Tica. Just
she lives in the container.
Yeah, we've built a relationship with Glenn, etc. But yeah, she's interested in you, and you've got a container.
Yeah,
I do think that a lot of the poor relationships are based on the premise that for local women, you come in with a lot of wealth and it's a huge opportunity. I mean,
I was perfect. I said to Diana, it's
She
a
went
container,
after-
and I've got no money. I have no job. I had no income. I have a bicycle. I don't have a car. She's like, okay, I'm still interested. I was like,
and
okay,
I think,
good
yeah, totally. No, that's it's so great that you've been able to build a relationship and not just with Diana, but connect with so many people in the community and integrate.
Yeah.
Part of that for sure is Glenn's world traveling and just innate abilities to relate to people. We had another question. How is your Spanish?
Coming on, actually. Poco, poco. Suave, suave. Yeah. Yo hablo español solo un poquito. No, pequeño. Poquito. Gracias. But I've started. So I had no Spanish when I arrived. Literally couldn't count, didn't know the alphabet. I said hola as hola, and I knew nothing. And when I went back to London now, actually, I thought I'm going to be there for 2 or 3 months. I don't want to lose the Spanish Diana's been teaching me. That's literally where I learned. Now I'm going to give you a different story. So I went to what's that restaurant on the top of the hill here where we first met on the way to Callejones that we love.
The top of the hill. Latino.
Latino. So I walked in there I needed Wi-Fi and I bought a phone. Actually, that's what happened. I bought a phone and I bought a SIM card. And when I first arrived, and I put the SIM in and I wanted to activate it. So I phoned a number, it's all in Spanish. How do I activate a phone? I don't know what they're saying. So I went to Bar Latinos and I met a girl and I said, can you please help me activate my phone?
Mm-hmm.
And straight away she helped me. And she became my first friend in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So and I started to learn Spanish.
Somebody at the restaurant
just helped me out.
Yeah.
And then when I was in London now, I signed up for Spanish lessons. I just Googled online, found a place, said, okay, this will do me twice a week. Turns out the girl doing the lessons for me is Colombian.
Okay.
So now I've come back and I'm just going to continue with the lessons with her and keep going. And then I've got Diana to practice, and she pushes me hard. So.
Yeah. And do you feel that not having Spanish when you arrived was any impediment?
Big smile, dude. You smile, you can go a million miles on a big smile.
Absolutely.
So that's literally,
yeah,
it would have been nice to have, definitely. If you can speak Spanish and you use it, of course. But it's not like France. I had a house in France for 8 years. Man, even if you speak French, you struggle there.
Yeah.
If you're not French.
And I've heard that they're very
different.
have an attitude that
Yeah.
is more like, you don't speak our language,
Yeah.
so
Go away, come back when you do.
yeah.
The Costa Ricans are not like that. They
Uh-huh.
will, if they can half speak English, you'll get along fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So besides, we've touched on a lot of the good things.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from moving in and getting things, up and running and the glitches towards the start, what are some other drawbacks that, what are some other things that have happened that weren't great, or that you wish you would have maybe known something beforehand?
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There really isn't. There's lots of things that go wrong. The river floods.
Yep.
That doesn't worry me because I don't have a car. We had 2 cars washed away the river. I don't have a car. I just walk around. So there's things that happen, but because I'm in a different space. The worst is foreigners with bad attitude. That's the only thing that catches me. It's like, man, you're just changing the vibe. I don't like that.
Totally. And I think that, yes, there is online constant production of sort of like the horror stories and all of the, foreigners who had bad things happen. First of all, you don't have a builder, so you're not worried about dealing with some contractor. You're doing everything yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have a car, so you're avoiding
no one steals.
a whole other set of Costa Rica problems.
Theft is a thing. I mean, my neighbors have been nailed hard. I mean, the guys, they came in literally with a crowbar, ripped the door off, and took everything down to the knives and forks, just cleaned out.
Yeah.
We have army ants that do that to me.
Yeah.
But that's all. But yeah.
No, and that's a very honest, open point. And someone
Theft is
else,
a thing.
yeah, someone had asked how much a piece of land costs, and you can find, there's a $20,000 piece of land up the highway in Rio Seco between 2 houses that's 6 meters wide and 20 meters deep, and there are very affordable pieces of land.
Yeah.
Glen is in a series of parcels that I think they might have finally sold the last couple of them at about $35,000.
Mm-hmm.
But that reasonable price point for 35 gets you a 1/4 acre.
Mm-hmm.
It's across a river, which normally you can cross it 95% of the year, but there's 5% of the year where you can't cross it.
Yeah.
And this parcel, these 1/4 acres, are also a 10-minute drive down to the beach, a 15-minute bike ride.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
So this is not prime beachside real estate.
No, you got to go up in the hundreds then, and you got to go over $100,000, I would imagine, to get walking distance to the beach. But
Totally.
yeah, of course.
There are some scraps and bits and pieces of land that are close to the beach and affordable, but they're going to be in those underdeveloped communities, and B, they usually won't be prime ocean view. A lot of people fantasize about finding that little perfect hillside where you just stroll down to the beach. Everybody in the universe wants that hillside, and so the cost of a little ocean view knoll is far, far greater than what Glen has tucked back here in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I think there are a lot of people for whom this is absolutely perfect, off the beaten path, very quiet. But yeah, you're living a very different lifestyle where you're happy with your bike, and
I'm happy with myself. I'm not looking for masses of company and city life, and I don't need access to all sorts of stuff. So it works for me.
And he said that sort of in the sense of just being generally happy alone, or being, but no, the key point, and to get on the little psychologist chair for a second, people who are happy in Costa Rica are generally happy with themselves. And a lot of expats who move here and immediately start complaining about everything.
Yeah, I get it.
They should really look inside.
They're running away, and I see that a lot. People come here. We had one the other day who came and left in such a huff, but she was running away from herself. So if you're running to Costa Rica and you're running away from yourself, fix that first. Don't come to Costa Rica and think it's going to fix you.
Absolutely,
It just doesn't. I'm old. I've spent 30 years running away from myself, and so
yeah, absolutely. To me, that's a huge revelation, and really, all of the negative stuff that comes out of the country, a lot of times, it's just that the people are closed-minded. They really didn't want Costa Rica, and And as I've specifically said, moving to Costa Rica itself is not going to have a transformative effect on you.
Yeah.
You know,
Change.
people think, oh, I'm going to move to Costa Rica and become the absolute ideal person.
Well said, man. That's so true, man.
Yeah. And a lot of times it doesn't happen. Hopefully it can happen for everybody out there who wants to and for whom it is right. But for Glenn and people like him who are good world travelers and ready to just fit into a new circumstance, it can be absolute paradise. And for people who have very strict ways and, you know, who want things to be a certain way, perhaps moving to Costa Rica isn't the absolute best.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention, so next week on Sunday at 11 a.m. on my channel, I'm going to be hosting Andrea Ochoa, a colleague who has done transformative remodels on all kinds of investment properties. So we'll continue with sort of the interview format next Sunday. Following that Sunday, we'll have a young couple who's building a home in Tamarindo on the channel. If anybody out there is interested in talking to Glenn about container tips, I'm sure Glenn's available because he's friendly and open. We'll also try and have Deanna on the channel at some point because she's a nutritionist. All kinds of wonderful things as well. But for today, I want to go ahead and let you guys get back to your Sunday. I want to thank everybody for watching Costa Rica Matt here and our live chat. As soon as I can bring it up, we will say goodbye, although I'm still looking for it. Here you go. Have a great weekend, folks. Love you very much.